You're muted.
Sorry, I was still muted. Yes, I'm here with Erica, and I am just going to show her some bug fixes and improvements that I've recently contributed to the blog. I will open the first and share my screen so people can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I think you should be looking at a merge request that's been merged. This was to address a bug that was creating this issue where I'll show you what was happening. This is our hero post on the blog homepage. We set this by using the featured field in the front matter. What was happening is every time a new featured post was coming, it was being placed in this hero spot, and then it would just disappear from the page. My expectation would be that it would just move down into recent posts. But the way the logic was set up was it was written to exclude any featured posts from this second line. So featured posts go up here, non-featured posts go down here. And if a post is featured and then gets superseded by a more recent featured post, it was just going straight to our archives and was no longer discoverable. This is obviously not ideal behavior because it then stops something that was an important post because it was featured from being found on the blog homepage. So I had some help, but we basically rewrote the logic to just exclude the hero article or the current hero article from that second row. And then anything else is fair game for being included there. So that's one example. I'm gonna find the next one. Oh, this was happening in a sense on our category pages as well. So quite a few people pointed out that they couldn't find our main, the monthly release post from the previous months on the releases category page. So this was a slightly different bug, but we managed to rewrite this so that, oh, sorry, I'm rambling here, but I've just realized what it was. This is an off by one error, which if you are familiar with coding at all, this is apparently a classic thing, but basically by having this set to include articles 2 to 24, it was skipping the article that was at position 1, because in Ruby, a list of articles starts from 0, not 1. So Erica, I don't know if this is this is all news to me, so you could just smile and nod if you're unfamiliar. But apparently this was my first off by one error that I helped to debug, so pretty exciting there. Jump in if you have any questions also. But I'm going to open the next one, which wasn't a bug, but this is something that I changed. So we have the blog archive, which is this list of articles here. When we split the release posts into like a separate blog in releases, they weren't being included in this archive. So I opened a merge request to add at least the major releases, which is the monthly one that goes out on the 22nd, back into the blog archive, and added it in here where before it wasn't. Oh, and I think we might have rewritten this logic a little bit as well, but anyway, so that was pretty cool. This one is still open, which I'm posting here. So this, we have a recurring bug, which means if you go to, let me just go to any post, what happens is we have a blog post here. It pulls in some related posts from the same category. Oh, I think this one actually has sometimes you can set those. I'm trying to find one where we haven't specifically set the article. Gosh, this was a long one.
So you mean as an author, you can override the logic and choose exactly what blog posts you want to put at the end of the article? Okay.
You can set it in the front matter, which we do encourage if you know of a blog post that someone else would be interested in reading if they're reading this current post. But as you can see what's happening, we're on this blog post, the basics of GitLab CI updated, and it's showing you the same post that you're currently reading. We thought we'd fixed this a while back, but there was a regression where like we changed something else and then this bug crept back in. So I've added some logic here to reject the current article so that you don't see that again, but that one still needs to be reviewed and merged by one of our website team. And then the last one that I will show you, which is kind of a bug, I guess. So when we move to making the hero image in a blog post be optional, we now have this kind of layout where before the title used to be overlaid on the image. Now it's kind of separated just underneath the title and description. But these little icons were white because they used to be overlaid on the image. And so to make them visible, they were just white. So I noticed that for some reason, they were invisible unless you hovered over them, because we have this setting that makes it change color if you hover over it. And then I figured out that they were set to white because they used to be overlaid on an image. I've now changed them to this gray, which we use in some other elements of our design. So that was just a simple change here to change it from white to gray. So I think those were all of my fixes. Had a productive week contributing to the GitLab website last week.
This is really, really cool to see. Like, as the person who is in charge of the editorial side, like also being able to dig into some of the engineering behind it and actually contribute. And before we started recording, I think you said some really interesting stuff just about like how empowering this felt. And I'm just curious, like, I know you were working with somebody, which is like, you know, the best way to learn something, but do you feel like you have some like good takeaways? Like if there were other bugs you wanted to work on, you could do that?
Yeah, I think I've got to a place where I can probably figure out where something is going wrong on my own, but I'm not familiar enough with the syntax for like how to write the logic, where I might have an idea about how to go about it, but I probably will miss some characters or put it in the right place. Where I think that a good rule of thumb is to, you know, spend some time working on it on your own and come up with some ideas and have a sense of what you want the behavior to be, because I think that's often the challenge. Whereas the website is going to do exactly what the code says it does, and the issue always is just we've told it to do something other than what we want and we didn't realize it. So figuring out what exactly you want it to do, and then maybe someone could help you figure out how to tell it to do the right thing. But it's been pretty fun and empowering. And the other thing that I'll share is that let me just open this up here. This has helped me work better with, we have a contractor doing some stuff improving the blog, and I had asked her to create some blog subcategories, which apparently Middleman doesn't support. But by digging into how the website takes the code that we give it and interpret it, I realized that we don't need categories. We can just use tags for that purpose. And then you tell the website to treat those tags in the same way that you would the categories, and you can present it with the same layout as a category, and nobody knows the difference. And this is something our contractors did suggest this a while back, and I kind of pushed back a little bit because I didn't totally understand what she was suggesting. I think I said, if it's possible to use tags to achieve the same effect, I'm open to it, but I didn't know. And we've kind of circled back to the solution of using tags instead of categories. So essentially, we will have a link to a tag instead of a link to a category, but the layout will be the exact same as a category. So that's something that she's working on. And I don't think we would have got to the solution if I hadn't done like a little bit of research to understand how it all works on the back end.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing all of this. This was really cool to see.
Yeah, you got it. And I should throw some thanks out to the patient website team. Brandon and Lauren have been reviewing some of these merge requests, and I know sometimes it can be uncomfortable if someone comes in and starts like rooting around in your like behind the scenes. But I hope what I'm trying to do here is solve more of my own problems and yeah, take a more active approach to contributing instead of just always giving them bug reports and asking them to deal with it. Hopefully this is more efficient for all of us, but thanks for their patience while I learn.